Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my deep dive into a beautiful and enlightening deck called The Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler. And this deck is very different from the decks that I have been raised on, that maybe you have been raised on and have studied over the years. The Golden Dawn-based decks, the RWS, the Smith-Waite, or the Thoth deck, the Crowley, the Harris-Crowley. I prefer putting artist first. The Harris-Crowley deck. And all of their iterations and recreations and the plethora of decks based on the Golden Dawn system. This is different. This is a deck based on Christine Payne-Towler's extensive and deep and enlightened research into what's called the continental tarot traditions. The continental tarot, different from England being an island, the continent, particularly France, and a little bit of Spain. And we have people like Atea, we have Eliphas Levi, who I'm studying deeply now, and we have Picard, we have Pappus, lots of people. And the esoteric traditions surrounding their decks, and their study, and their erudition. And so she created this beautiful deck. And so what I do is every day I draw one card from that deck. And I acknowledge the ideas and the symbolism that I recall from my study of the other systems. And I do that because in acknowledging those thoughts and those feelings and those memories, I can detangle those from the card that I'm seeing at the moment and try to confront it as it is, as closely as I can as it is. And to help me do the next step with that, I use an RWS deck that I'm very comfortable in using, the Light Seers Tarot. Almost everybody knows it. It's very popular. And I do a 3-card spread. First card is the significance of the daily draw. The second card is the obstacle. The third card is the advice. And so I read those as best as I can, and then I live my day. And then I pull out my handy-dandy guidebook for the Tarot of the Holy Light, which is just amazing. And there's a companion book that also goes with this that goes more in depth into the background for the esoterica that came to form this deck. This is primarily, it's primarily meanings of cards, but it's also much more than that. So get it yourself and look at it. So I look at the meaning for the daily draw card in this book and see how the creator's understandings and meanings for the card manifested themselves for me during the day or did not. And then I filmed this video. Now, this is Friday, so if you were here last week Friday, you already probably know that I'm doing this a little bit early so that I can relax a little bit. Friday's my day to play. So after I do this and I take a shower and meditate, then I'm going to have a little bit of wine and watch a movie and just, what they say, chill out, right? And frankly, I've got a lot to show you today, so I'm going to try and get through it at a pace if I can. The daily draw card that I got today was a card which I sometimes get in this position when I do reversals. This deck, Tarot of the Holy Light, is created to be read with reversals. So I got the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Discs. See, RWS screeching forth from the back of my brain. The Ace of Discs, up, reversed. That's the opposite of upright, reversed. So let me show it to you upright. And so what do we see? We see this beautiful, beautiful disc of light with an eye in the center looking very much like the eye of God. We see these plants growing. We've got a moon underneath here. The significance of this is Saturn in Capricorn. And Saturn's usually a harsh thing, but Saturn with Capricorn can get things done, right? And so we've got this growth and beauty and health and lovely colors. Now upright, that was cause for concern for me today, because what I see in the upright is what I generally think of of the upright discs as being as opportunity, material opportunity presenting itself. Reversed, opportunity blocked. It could be perhaps an inner opportunity, but I often tend to fear that as being opportunities lost, opportunities blocked, false opportunities. And so I did my 3-card spread. And let me show you those cards right now. So these cards I read once one way, and then later on I reframed the reading of those cards in a different way. The first card you saw was the 4 of Swords, which rest, meditation, yeah. 10 of Cups was the obstacle. Judgment was the advice. And I'm going to show you my weakness as a reader right now. I hate it when Judgment comes up as the card for advice because I keep feeling like I'm always missing it. I just don't get it. Those calls apparently are, I know the call is always there. I know in my heart and in my soul and in the deepest place of my knowing that the divine is constantly calling us. There is no end to the call. And it's just my stupid ears not hearing it. So when that Judgment card comes as advice, I keep thinking, here's another opportunity passed. And I know that's not exactly true, but that's the voice at the back of my head. So what did I think in addition to that? Well, first I thought, okay, so the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Discs reversed here is perhaps timeout. 4 of Swords is meditation, recuperation. You see this woman in a nest, looking very comfortable. Her heart is out there, not pierced by like the 3 of Swords, but out there perhaps healing, regenerating, glowing with greater health. It almost looks like a Christmas light to me. Have you ever had those Christmas lights with little red, like chili peppers or red hearts? That kind of reminds me of one of those strands of Christmas lights with only one of those hearts visible. So I got that. So the first thing I thought was, okay, so Ace of Pentacles, if there's an opportunity out there, it's not going to be coming. So the significance of that for me is to take a break. And so the obstacle to taking a break is love, joy, and affection. Is flowing love, is to share my abundance of love with others, which to me means that perhaps with that 4 of Swords was maybe I don't have that love to share with a lot of people today. So maybe that is the obstacle. The obstacle is that I don't have that love. And instead, what I should just do is as I'm lying there, as I am in my 4 of Swords phase, I should just pay attention. Just pay attention for the call. Makes sense, right? And so I lived my day. And as I was living my day, I got a little itchy. I got a little antsy about that Ace of Discs being reversed. And this card kept bothering me. And I can see now why it was bothering me more. It was because this nest reminds me of the disc. And maybe the reversedness of this is, if I wanted to turn this around to an upright, I would need to fix this somehow. Yeah, that was another way I started thinking of reading this, is that maybe this is the significance, but this significance might actually be a problem, that I'm not doing anything, that I'm not taking advantage of anything, that I'm not flowing love. And so that the obstacle to, or the rectification, because sometimes an obstacle to something that is negative is actually a positive. So maybe the obstacle to this was actually that I should be flowing love, that I should be connecting, that I should be sharing my abundance of affection with those around me. And that if I do that, I would hear the call. So I was like, well, so what's it all about, Alfie? So I wanted to pull a deck, and then I remembered that I had talked about this beautiful deck that I had wanted to try using a couple of days ago. The Richard Black, the R Black Tarot, which is a beautiful, beautiful deck. Let me show you it. Let me show it to you. This is a very small deck. It's almost the size of a Lenormand, a bridge-sized deck. Like I said, printed on eco-friendly paper with eco-friendly ink, and these cards are just beautiful. The artist is a graphic artist, but also he creates this deck rich with symbolism. And I'm not going to go through all of the cards by any means, but you can see there's diversity of culture, there's diversity of age, there's diversity of everything in this deck. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. There might be a little bit of lack of body diversity, like as in like size, for example, but they're not all body beautiful either. It's not like we've got skinny supermodels here. But this is just an amazing deck. Look at this. Look at this. What is this? This is the tower, right? Nuclear reactor bursting open, breaking apart DNA. I mean, so much is in this deck, and I love this deck. So I thought, in order for me to be able to show you this deck in this series, and I'm afraid to say this, I'm very sorry to say that this is out of print. He might do another run sometime in the future, but right now it's out of print. The backs are just amazing. I can't show you these on camera because it's all black on black, but there's a pattern, and if you look carefully, you can see an eye in this black on black back pattern. It's a magnificent deck. So, what am I trying to say? I did a 3-card reading. I also wanted to show you that, yes, I do read Tarot de Marseille in non-positional spreads. And I generally also do read a lot of my RWS card decks in positional spreads. That means one position, one card answers the question. The next card answers a different question. But I don't always. I sometimes do non-positional spreads with my RWS, and I thought, well, I'll show you me doing that today. And so I did a 3-card spread. Without positions, the question was, help me understand what to do with this Ace of Discs reversed. What is it? What's going on, Alfie? And so I pulled 3 cards. Oh, I've got a picture of that. Let me show you those cards right now. I'm telling you, this is a beautiful deck, and I wish I could gift everyone who watches this a copy of it. I just think it's that magnificent, and it reads so wonderfully for me. So you saw 3 cards in a row. Yeah? The 2 of Cups, the Daughter of Wands, and the Mother of Swords, which would be the Queen of Swords. And you see that, so the Daughter of Wands is the Page of Wands in RWS, so there's got the titles of the court cards are a little bit more like Thoth, or even, what is that deck? There's another deck that isn't Thoth, but has the courts changed like this. It's a Native American based imagery, I won't try and find the name, I'm sorry. But there are other decks that do this, yeah? So you saw this, and let me see if I can put it in the order you saw it. Okay, so I got these 3 cards, but no. So I'm putting them in the order, it has to be in this order. You will be seeing them backwards, but I'm going to put them in this order for a very important reason. And when you see them correctly, this is reversed order because of the mirror effect of this camera right now. But for example, this is actually the left, this is actually the right. And what I saw was this card being the central figure. So the Ace of Discs, for this spread, the meaning is that, there's this potential for creation. There's this potential for something to be made. And you see the page, this Daughter of Wands, sitting in front of this blank canvas, not doing anything, right? There's all this space for creation, but this page is not looking, this daughter is not looking at the canvas. She's looking off this way. What is she looking at? She's looking at the 2 of Cups, the lovers, and perhaps fantasizing about those lovers. And maybe her head is so full of love and relationships and that she's not able to focus on or get anything onto the canvas. And so what's behind her and what perhaps needs to be paid attention to more is the mother or queen of swords, which is independent thought, breaking away, thinking for herself, getting that clear, honest vision for herself independently, not following other people's leads, not doing following what other people think, but all on their own. And also, the Queen of Swords is one who has a sense of humor to me. Yeah, maybe a little bit catty, but that's my kind of sense of humor a lot of the time too. So I saw that this page is not paying attention to what could be paid attention to. It is distracted by this. And this would be of benefit. And you probably think that what is wrong with this guy? All this guy ever thinks about is relationships and who's interested in him and who's he interested in. And so that's what this made me think of, the opportunity to create, but that I was distracted. And so I thought, so what goes on that canvas? That's really what I wanted to know. What goes on the canvas? Yeah, maybe I'm distracted by the men in my not necessarily surroundings, in my etheric surroundings, Facebook, my social media surroundings, let's call it that. No one's actually here in my room. No one's actually here in my city, actually. So that's very distracting, right? So, but what goes on the canvas? That's what I really wanted to know in the first place. So I did another 3-card draw. And I'm not going to do a separate photo. I'm going to show you this just as it is. We got the Hermit, we got the 10 of Discs, and we got the Star. So what did I think? Okay, so what goes on the canvas? That was the question. Well, you got to meditate on it. You need to let it come forth from within and pay attention to the abundance that you already have instead of perhaps chasing after other things. And in doing that, there is hope possible. You'll have the hope of getting something on the canvas. So these are the things that we haven't even gotten to the book yet. These are the things that were running through my mind as I was moving through the day. And so I came home and some other stuff happened, but I'll get to that in a little bit. And then I came home and read the book. And some of this was as expected, and some of it was a little bit of a, oh really? I don't know if that applies to me. Let's see what we get. So first let's see the Ace of Discs upright. Think of it as the seed of your future fulfillment. Yeah? And Ace represents a single step toward your goal, but if that step is continued over time, it can cover great distances. Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Discs, not surprising reading, right? Tarot decks, where is it? Okay. Whether it appears, here it is. It promises an invitation to someplace rich and special. So it's the gateway, right? It's the door to a whole new world, right? I'm sorry, I was singing that song, I got lost. So someplace special, a fertile territory, redolent with untapped potential. So it's not only the opportunity, it's also the beginning of the journey, the portal towards that abundance, the portal towards that untapped potential. And we also get into Capricorn and Sagittarius and all wonderful things, but I want to move on to the reversed meaning because the first one threw me for a loop a little bit. Not because it's bad, don't get me wrong, because it's way too good. So we could look at this reversed Ace of Discs as the Bodhisattva's mission, which brings us back to earth over and over, despite the fact that this saintly soul has no more debts to pay within the planetary system. I don't think that's me. I know I've got a lot of debts to pay. So, and not so much debts, but I've got work to do. I've got karma to unravel, right? And I'm saying right a lot, right? The next bit is where we start getting closer to what I see as more the possible reading for me. That being the case, the reversed Ace of Discs went into an entirely different place there for a moment. The Ace of Discs couldn't be a sterile seed, a sickly body, or a situation that's not likely to be fertile and prosper. So that was what I was thinking, that Ace of Discs reversed being that it's a fool's gold kind of opportunity. And actually, fool's gold is going to come up here in just a moment. Sometimes, like it could also represent the opposite of a nutritious food. This could be like junk food. Yeah, an opportunity that may be momentarily filling but unnutritious. It doesn't actually do any good. Ace of Discs reversed raises the challenge of distinguishing between fool's gold and the real gold. One has to determine whether self-delusion or projections are imparting the value that appears to be present. So there you see this value, you see this shiny, glistening thing, and is it your projection? Is it our delusion that we're projecting onto this lump of coal that is making it seem like it's gold? And then Christine Payne-Towler gives a little bit of advice down here. There's a lot of advice in here, but I'm getting to one little bit of her advice. Try letting nature take her course without interference, which is kind of this, right? Waiting for the call, being open to the call, letting nature take its course, because this is the natural state of things. This isn't special, really. I don't think. This call is not a special once-in-a-lifetime thing. This call is constant. It's this that's not ready, that's not opening, it's not willing or able to, or ready to hear it. The ears are plugged, the eyes are full of gunk. And spirit is so ready to rise up and dance in the astral plane, with the anima mundi, with the the astral light. We are ready to do that, but we don't open the door for ourselves. And so, my day. A lot of it was really good, unsurprising and nice. I got to my office. I didn't get there as early as I'd hoped to, but even though I missed one bus, I took another bus and was only like 10 minutes later than I would like to have been, which is still very early. I get there early, and I was just a little less early than I normally would want to be. And I cleaned my office. That went well. I did a little bit of studying. I did a little bit of work. I chatted a lot with some of the men I was discussing online. Not a lot of men. A couple of past interests reconnected, which is nice, but that's all they are, is past interests. One who is not very clear about what he wants from me. And so that was all fun. It was a little bit, I admit, it was a little bit distracting. It was a little bit of this pulling away from this, because these were the people that keep coming up and I keep following, right? Not saying that that's all bad, but I might be giving some of it a little bit more too much energy, and some of that energy could be used in another way. Anyways, so ate my lunch, went out, went to the library where I do my volunteer work, and I got there very, very early, as I had intended, so I could go up to the coffee shop and in a very different environment do a little bit more studying and a little bit of organizing of my notes. And I went down and I read a story to a little shy little girl who got less shy as we were interacting, and that was wonderful. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, somebody I don't think I've ever known, contacted me. And so I was thinking, which one is that? And at that moment, I allowed the contact. They contacted me through Facebook Messenger, and don't worry, I don't accept everybody, or what I will sometimes do is accept briefly, check it out, what's going on, and if it looks fishy, if for example, their Facebook wall looks fishy, I will cut off contact right away within a matter of minutes. I've gotten used to being able to do that. So I did that. I accepted the request of a messenger. It's not really all that unsafe, because I've protected my friends on Facebook. I accepted that, and then I hopped right over to this guy's Facebook page, and I checked out the page to see if those warning signals are there, or a lot of conflicting information, or no information, or whatever. There are ways to tell who are the scam artists a lot of the time, and this guy looked legit, so I didn't worry too much. I wanted to keep my eye on it, because I've not had any problems, but I've been contacted by scammers, and I've been fine, but I don't want to deal with that anymore, So I was still wondering, is this the call or the distraction? And we were talking, and we were chatting on Facebook, and suddenly we were like, he was suggesting that maybe we could meet. Now, no, it's been a long time since anyone had actually suggested that we actually meet. It's all been this online flirtatious stuff. And so, well, when and all that. And Sunday, I said, no, Sunday's not good for me. And he said, well, I was thinking of swinging through your city. He doesn't live in where I live. Swimming through your city Sunday or Monday. I was like, well, Monday may be possible, but I've got that day set aside to figure out a bike route to my new campus. I'm telling you all this information, you may not even want to hear it, but that was the conversation. And then he said, well, and I said, so I'm really not going to be dressed appropriately to meet somebody new. I'm not going to look good. I'm not going to be in my Sunday go meeting clothes or Monday go meeting clothes. And he said, the important thing is not how you look, it's seeing and talking to each other. And that was like, okay. Now this is going in a direction that that matches my lifestyle, if that makes sense. And so, I don't know, maybe, yes, I was distracted by others, but maybe I was able to do some of this to get some of this. And maybe this may have turned around, maybe not. I'm totally up for this being fool's gold. That doesn't bother me. Really doesn't bother me. I'm in a place right now where meeting this guy and going out just for coffee is not the step before marriage. I'm totally open to this. Could totally be fool's gold and a projection of potential. But, sometimes exploring fool's gold is kind of nice. I mean, I love my pyrite. Pyrite is fool's gold. I love my pyrite crystals. So, like I said, this isn't a commitment. This isn't a let's get married. This isn't even a let's date. It's just let's go out and have some coffee. It's perfect, 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 I think. And maybe I did hear that call. And maybe I might have been able to have gotten a little bit more on my canvas if I weren't so wrapped up in this a lot of the time. But I think in doing this work here, which might be this, and being aware of the abundance that I have, maybe this might be a glimmer of hope, maybe. What do you think? I mean, I've gone off in so many different directions. This might be a totally incomprehensible video to follow or to make sense of or to discern what the heck is he trying to say. So I'd love to hear your reaction to this. What do you think? Like I said, maybe this is a false opportunity. But you don't know if it's a false opportunity until you check it out, right? There's nothing wrong with checking out fool's gold. As long as you're aware that there is a potential that you are projecting, that you've created an illusion. And I haven't created too much of an illusion so far because I don't really know that much. I don't know enough to have an illusion about this guy. So there you have it. That's my Friday recap. So friends, if you're still here, hit the thumbs up button so that people know, that YouTube knows that you got something out of this and other people might as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell, and make sure you do get notifications, that you allow your notifications. And comment below. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? And if you want a private reading, my email address is below. You know what to do. Send me an email. Tell me I want a reading and we'll work it out. It's not a difficult thing. I'm back. You probably thought you were all done with me for tonight. I thought I was all done with me for tonight. But as you can see, I showered and I sat with meditation, and you know what? This card was has still been bothering me since as I was recording the video and after I recorded the videos. This card was still nagging at me, still poking me. And so I decided to sit with the card in meditation tonight. I put it up on my altar when I meditated. And something struck me. Not a stone or rock, but an idea struck me. That maybe there's another way of reading this card. If you probably recall, it's much more recent for you. I was reading her sitting here looking this way as being distracted, as not paying attention to what she should pay attention to. There's this canvas that she should be working on, and instead she's off staring at this when she should be working on this canvas. I was being all judgmental about this poor lady, daughter of wands. And it struck me that there's an entirely different way that this card could be read in this spread. Maybe she's not distracted. Maybe she is contemplating. Maybe she is getting inspiration by looking with honesty, with clarity, at these relationships, at these love relationships, to get inspiration for what she wants to paint on this canvas. So instead of looking at this card as being, she's not doing her job, she should be painting, but she's not, she's off daydreaming, maybe that's not it. Maybe this is me looking carefully, looking honestly at the relationships that I've had and that I am having, that I'm in the middle of now, and looking at them honestly to decide what I really want to paint on my canvas. What do I really want to create? And maybe in that sense, that reversed Ace of Discs isn't necessarily the fool's gold. Maybe it's the potential put off. It's not ready to be planted. Now maybe there is a potential there. And it's just needs it needs more time. It needs more analysis necessarily, but more observation of what really you want it to become. Like when we think of the seven of I'm going to say Pentacles because I'm thinking Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm thinking of Pamela Coleman Smith's art. The Seven of Pentacles. The guy, usually male presenting, standing in front of the bush of pentacles, waiting for them to get ripe enough to harvest, and looking perhaps at what needs to be pruned and doing a little bit of analysis, but also waiting for the right time to do the harvesting. Maybe that's what that Ace of Discs reversed also could mean. Now, I'm not saying that is what it is. It could still be delusion, it could still be projection, it could still be fool's gold. And I'm willing to observe and determine that, to go out and check that out. But I think reading this card the way I just discovered, I think that's what's sitting right for me. Does that make sense? So friends, this is really the end. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.